Being a single mom and doing it all by yourself is brutal. Learn the brain and energy tools to get back to your center and overcome your challenges. As you know, stress is very damaging to our health, but it's also very damaging to our relationships. And maybe your stress is creating more arguments with your kids. Maybe slowly, because you don't know how to deal with it, you are actually damaging your relationship with your kids. Good evening. Today, this is a new episode of Single and Doing It All. And my guest is a life coach and expert in teaching mothers and teachers to deal with the stress. But before I invite her on the show, I want to introduce myself. If this is the first time you watch or listen to the show, my name is Muriel Felous. I am known as your French life coach, and I help single moms stop arguing with their teenagers with what I called my cut the crap method, or it's more like a brain rewiring and spiritual approach. So if you are here in the studio audience on Facebook, because as you know, we record the show live on Facebook every week, don't hesitate to say hi, even if you come on replay. If you want, you can share with us. If you like what you hear, actually, you can let us know with whatever you want, hearts, thumbs up. And if you know a single mom who's struggling a lot with her teenagers and is alone, feels isolated, doesn't know what to do, is confused maybe, and scared, share with her our podcast, our show. If you're listening on audio, share it any way you want. So welcome again. And now I am going to bring our guest today. Her name is Deb Scherbanuik, and I'm not sure I pronounced her name right, but I'm going to ask her to tell her name herself, because I'm sure I'm butchered it. Hi, Deb. How are you?
I'm good, Muriel. How are you this evening?
I'm great. Thank you.
Good,
So
good.
I forgot to ask you how you pronounce your last name, even though we talked several times. How do
Yeah,
you
that's
pronounce your last
okay.
name?
It's very simple, just phonetically, Scherbanuik.
Scherbanuick. Okay. I was
Yeah,
totally off.
that's
Apologize.
fine. No worries.
So, you are a life coach, but you're way more than that. And I wanted to know if you could share with us what you do and what was your journey to doing what you're doing today? What's the motivation behind your journey, and how did you get here?
How much time have we got? No, I'm just kidding.
The short version. You can give us the condensed version.
Yes. Well, I have always had a passion for children and family life, but it really didn't come to my aha moment until after I was divorced and going through. I mean, my kids were young adults already when I was going through the divorce, but things just kept coming more and more into light. Um, Having some difficulties in my upbringing years with family issues and whatnot. When I got married the first time, Muriel, it's just so strong in my mind that I wanted to have I wanted to have children. All I ever wanted to be was a mom.
Oh.
And I wanted to have children so I could give them a better life. That was my focus. And I didn't really realize that till many, many years later. But after my divorce, I of course, started doing some healing and went through many spiritual teachers and readings and um, reading different things from the very first professional life coaches. And again, there was a lot of spiritual, there was a lot of spiritual in my journey. So as I developed that, and I realized that the things that I was doing as a mother when my kids were younger really were part of who I was and the work that I wanted to do. Um, using the positive words, being a preventionist, being an observer of who they really are, really listening and hearing who they are. And I've just come to realize more and more now that really, it's a passion, and every day it just gets stronger because they come to this world as a gift and as a reason, and with gifts and talents, and it's our job to help nurture who they are.
Of course. And what I notice with myself, first of all, because I'm a mom myself, and with my clients, is that if we don't take care of ourselves first, self-care, and nurture ourselves, we are not as good as parents as we could be. Is that what you are noticing with your clients as well?
Absolutely, absolutely, because we we have triggers. We
Yes.
have things that come up without us knowing, and why we're angry, why we don't have patience. There's always an underlying reason.
Yes. And we very often, if we don't take care of what I call in my coaching our own crap, and pardon my French, it's it's we project on our kids, and it can be very damaging too. I wish I had known that earlier when my
Hmm.
kids were younger, but it's never too late. It's really
That's
never too
right.
late. Uh,
Absolutely.
I know you work a lot with teaching people how to manage their stress. What do you see? I don't know, maybe you don't see a kind of stress coming up the most often for parents and teachers. Is there one kind of stress that you see more often, or is it really a variety of stresses? Do you say stresses? I'm not sure.
I Stresses. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Um, I think I think for the most part, it's relational.
Mhm.
Relational with ourselves, relational with our partners, our spouses, other people. But I think it starts with us, like how
Yes.
we feel about ourselves and what we project. Um, I remember, when my kids were little, and when I would lose my temper or my impatience, I realized it wasn't so much what they were doing. It was what was going on in the
Yeah.
background that I didn't have the patience
Yeah.
for. So everything else gets in the way when you don't deal with that.
Yes. And so some symptoms to know, for example, if a mom knows that she's suspecting that she's suffering from stress and that she's stressed. And for my single moms, it's very often from a lack of time because they do everything themselves. So they have to
That's
work,
right.
they have to take care of the kids. So the stress that comes from the lack of time may be more obvious, but the other kind of stress, like the one you mentioned, the one that comes from a filter of our own stuff that we didn't deal with, how can they start noticing it? Are there some signs, like you mentioned, impatience? What other stuff come up when it's time for you to deal with your stress before you deal with your kid?
I think for some people it's a bit of a process. I mean, it might have to be pointed out. You have to, if you're not doing any research on yourself, it's all about healing yourself. It's about stopping, breathing, being mindful, paying attention to what's going on, asking yourself, why am I reacting like this? Why is this going on? And meditation and being mindful, I feel is huge because when you're stressed, you have so much mind clutter. You have
Yeah.
so much going on that it's hard to focus on anything.
Yes. So you're talking now about emotional stress, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
yes, so the emotional stress will actually change everything you live through, everything you see.
That's right.
Yes, and you're going to start maybe reacting more than being able to respond. So that's where
Yes, absolutely.
meditation.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, emotional stress, when you're not, when you can't focus, you're not mindful, there's everything else can start getting, I mean, you're just cluttered, right? It's
Yes,
it's like that decluttering, um, the people that help you organize and
yes,
whatnot. You have to do that within yourself as
yes,
well.
yes.
Yeah,
And that's something I work a lot also on with my clients, because it's all in the way of you somehow being able to return to if it maybe not a positive emotional state, maybe a neutral one first, and then you can go to the positive and be able to respond to the people that you love in a different way, in a way that serves both of you, that serves your highest good. um,
that's
I,
right.
yeah, so meditation and mindfulness is one of the practices that you give for your clients to
Hmm.
release the stress.
Yes, breathing, breathing.
Breathe.
I'm also a laughter leader. So
Yeah,
trying to see things on a lighter, like things aren't always as serious as they look.
yeah,
So if we stop, stand back, take a deep breath, and there's a couple of different breathing techniques that I like to use as well. Um, just stopping and just being mindful of where you are and what's happening um, is a huge step. But sometimes it takes a bit of a process to get there because
yes.
when you're in stress mode, it's difficult to come back.
So would you recommend I know that preparation at a brain level is huge. And when you prepare yourself before you go into a situation, your response is going to be completely different because you
Hmm.
are prepared. So, as far as breathing, is there a breathing technique that you could share here with the audience that they can use anytime, anywhere?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I picked this up from Sonia Choquette.
Oh, yes.
One, yeah, and I used it just myself today. As a matter of fact, um, of course, just sitting and relaxing, and it's not Sonia Choquette. I'm sorry, Brene Brown. I
Brené Brown.
apologize.
I know both of them.
Yes, yes. So taking a deep breath in to the count of 4, holding it for the count of 4, letting it out for the count of 4, holding for the count of 4, and then breathing in to the count of 4. Just getting that,
Okay.
that 1, 2, 3, 4, and it just relaxes you, brings you to the present, so you're right here, right now, and then you can think, okay, what's going on?
So that breathing technique, I've learned it from a yoga teacher actually.
Oh,
And
okay.
I
Mm-hmm.
think Deepak Chopra also talks about that specific set of like 4 4 4 4. And
Mm-hmm.
it actually sends oxygen to the brain.
Yeah,
So you're able to think more clearly.
that's
So
right.
doing that maybe before, let's say, for our audience of single moms, before they come back home or before they go to pick up their kid, or their teenager, and centering yourself before you go in would have already a way stronger impact in you being able to not maybe raise your voice when
Yeah,
something goes
yeah,
wrong. Yes.
that's right. And also it water, water is very good because sometimes if we're dehydrated or hungry, I mean that plays a big part too. So make
Yeah.
sure at least you've got your water with you and you're breathing. I think that goes a long way. And realize that what kind of day you've had. They may have had that kind of a day. They'll be hungry. They'll be, So, I mean, there's so much to play into it. But I think for the most part, just being mindful,
Yes.
just to, coming to that point. And, if they've had a bad day, then you can just say, okay, we'll talk about it. You have to let them know your needs as well, depending
Yeah.
on the age that you're
Yes.
dealing with.
Yes.
Sometimes if they're little,
Yeah,
that
they're
doesn't
difficult.
always come into
Mhm.
play.
Yeah.
But, if you need a couple of minutes, let them know that you're always there. I find that I have to share with you, if I may, right now.
Yeah.
One of the things when my kids were little, my mom always used to tell me, um, always, always, always talk to the children. That's what she said. Like she wasn't a very educated woman, but she had a lot of inner wisdom,
Yes.
innate wisdom about kids. And I don't know, I guess maybe I may have picked that up or I've just channel her or whatever, but it's, the earlier you start talking to them and knowing that they have your attention, hopefully that just carries on. But things change, life changes, things come up, and just don't be afraid to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, or whatever the situation. But yeah, I think mindfulness is an important thing.
It is. But I don't know many people that have been taught mindfulness. I know I
No,
wasn't.
that's right.
And
No,
yeah, so it's something that you have to learn and cultivate. And over time, you realize that, let's say you were mindful 5 minutes during a day, and then when you cultivate it, then you're going to go to 10 minutes and it increases
that's
because
right.
your brain learns to be present. But
That's right.
it's definitely something you have to repeat. And what I find with the people when I teach or when I coach is that two things. First, they resist anything that's too simple. Like you talked about breathing and water. You're
Hmm.
going to say that to people and they're going to say, oh, yeah, 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 I know that. Okay. But do you do it? Because
Yeah, yeah,
very often the most powerful tools are the simplest tools.
that's right.
And yes, and repetition. A lot of people, and including myself, I'm going to be very transparent. Sometimes I start a practice and I stop, and then I fall off, and then I have to go back to the
Yeah.
practice. It's hard sometimes to repeat it over and over and over because we live in a society where so many new stuff come at us every second. Our brain
Yeah.
gets used to novelty. So is
Yeah.
that resistance that you see with your people as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially if they're single parents or um, if not even single parents, but a lot of parents travel for work, so they
Yes.
end up being a single parenting, and that can cause a lot of issues because, you're at home doing everything. So even when I've talked about meditation and I understand, I really understand that you don't have the time, but you just have to sneak in 3 minutes, just
Yes.
3 minutes. Just, and then if you see how that feels, how that calming, how the clearing, and, maybe just add another minute and
Yes.
another minute. And pretty soon you want to get up maybe 10 minutes earlier and just sit
Yeah.
and meditate. I think that's another very beneficial thing.
And that's like bicycling. The hardest part is in starting, and
Yeah,
then when you're in motion, it gets better. But when you're tired and when you have so many things to do, your mind is like, I don't have time for that. And
that's
it's
right.
quite the opposite, because once you will start, you will notice that you have more time during the day.
That's
And
right.
you will be less tired when you wake up in the morning. So maybe you will be able to wake up 5 or 10
That's right.
minutes earlier. And I know that it can sound cliche, but that's so powerful.
Even just like there's some mornings I don't feel like sitting up. Um, Even just if you're awake, just laying in your bed, just making sure your spine is straight and just deep breathing
Yes.
and starting off that way. And set some intentions, things life gets in the way of all these perfect things, but um, if we just set some of these things, then maybe it'll get a little easier, and you can handle things a little bit better.
And for the perfectionists in this group, which
Yes.
I'm a recovering perfectionist. I think I'll be all my life. But when you skip a day, let's say one day you're really too tired to wake up earlier, or you forgot, or it's okay.
Yeah,
You can do it. What happens to me, I always try to do a morning practice, because you set your day, and you even set on a biology level, you set your body for the day with the way you start your day. So when you start in a rush thinking about all the things you have to do, your day is going to be like that.
that's right.
Even if I forget, or let's say something happens and I don't have time for my morning practice, I used to say, okay, then that's too bad, I'll do it tomorrow. What I do now is I take a moment during the day when I do a break for lunch or something, and I do it then. So there is
Yep,
it's
yep.
very flexible. You don't have to be too rigid with it. Otherwise, you're going to add stress to the whole thing.
Oh, absolutely. Like if you look at your day, it's amazing the 2 and 3 minutes you can sneak in, going to the washroom, having a
Exactly.
washroom break,
Exactly.
just doing it there. Yeah, it's amazing how you can sneak it in, and then really eventually it you just then you can take deep breaths and relax, clear the clutter, and carry on.
And actually, I have a feeling now, an urge to tell the audience, let's all take a deep breath now.
Good idea.
Because I saw you do that. My body got jealous. I was like, I want that.
Excuse me. I also read something, and I can't remember. I'm always doing research. I'm always reading. I'm always,
Yeah.
but it was on meditation. And you know how sometimes I know that you work with a lot of teenage parents,
Parents of
but
teenagers. Yes.
that's right. That's what I meant. Sorry.
No, I'm just clarifying
The
for the audience.
yes. Um, sometimes when you're putting the little ones to bed, and sometimes they're cranky, or they haven't seen you all day, and they don't want to let you go. And if you have to lay down with them for a minute,
Yeah.
even that's a good time. It's amazing. It's really amazing when you go through your day how you can sneak it in.
And you can even teach it to your kids. I used to do that with my
Yes.
kids to try to teach them stuff. Now they're teenagers, so their role is to resist anything I'm going to say.
Yeah,
But
the
I
seed was planted.
yes, it was. And I see it with my kids when they are with their friends. I see stuff that I used to teach them, and now they say, "Oh, you and your things." And I see them teaching it to their friends without me
Yeah,
knowing.
yeah,
So it's so
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
So
And
it's
that's okay. That's
yeah,
great.
yeah, that's terrific because
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
models. So that's why also it's so important for us to manage our stress, because if we do it, that's what we're teaching them without talking. They see
that's
it.
right.
They see
That's
it.
right.
Um,
Because I mean, quite often when kids are acting out, when they're angry, there's a sadness underlying underneath that. There's sadness, there's frustration, there's things going on,
yes.
changes that may have happened. So, that those are good times for them to learn to be a little mindful and some breathing and take some time.
And even if they're older, like teenagers, I do that with my kids. And when I see them triggered, I say, okay, breathe.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm breathing. Like, I want to hear it. I want to hear it. So let's take 3 deep breaths. And usually they don't like it, but they still do it. And it calms
Mm-hmm.
their body down. It's something that we can't do it enough, I would say.
No, no. When I do my laughter sessions, we do a lot of deep breathing. And laughter is also, I teach intentional laughter. And that is also a huge, huge stress reliever. It clears the cobwebs. It gives your organs a workout. But I usually I start with taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Do that a couple of times. And then the very last one, we take a deep breath in through our nose and go, ah,
Oh,
and
yes.
just really let it out.
Yes.
And that, even if you do that once, it's like, whoa,
It is.
okay.
It does. It has an impact.
Yeah.
Laughter is very intriguing to me, like intentional laughter. I'm going to tell people that if they want to get in contact with you and join your tribe, they just have to comment here in the live session. And if you are listening on audio, you can send me an email. I'll send you Deb's link. But they can comment with Deb's tribe, and they will receive the link to your Facebook group, because
Good. Okay.
that way they can get familiar with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But before they even go there and start working with you or following what you're doing, is there a way to start on your own as a mom with intentional laughter?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do have. Do you want me to show you?
Actually, you know what? Before we go there, I would like you to, if you can explain to the audience some of the benefits to laughter, because
Okay.
maybe people are not familiar with it.
Okay. Um, I took a couple of trainings, one through World Laughter Tour and Dr. Kataria's Laughter Yoga. And they're both very similar. Um, some of the techniques might be a little bit different, but the whole idea was to bring peace, one person at a time, peace within ourselves. Um, it, there's so many benefits. Just like I said, clearing the cobwebs, relieving stress. It's intergenerational. It's racial. It doesn't matter what age you are, what country you're from. it's all the same. It builds community. It raises vibration, and that's another thing I like to work on, is vibration, because when we're vibrating very low, and when we're angry, when we're sad, when we're depressed, when, all those other lower things, um, it causes illness. It can cause illness. It causes breakdown of relationships and all that. But when you laugh, when you listen to your favorite music, when you move, when you dance, all those kind of things help you raise your vibration, and you can maybe see things from a different side, instead of the
Yeah.
difficulties that maybe it is.
Yes, and yeah, laughter. So you were going to give us a clue. Is it something you can explain to for the audio audience, or do they have to see it?
No, I'll explain it. There's 3 components of laughter when I teach the laughter is taught with actions, and 3 components of laughter. So the 3 components are, the first one is the face laughter, where you're just laughing and using your face or your head. It's and the second one is the belly laughter, kind of in your, just below your heart and above your navel, in that area, the solar plexus. It's the belly laugh is ho, 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 or the Santa laugh. Ho, 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 ho. Really feel it down there.
It's massaging the area when
Yes,
you do it.
yes, yes. Or my favorite, the heart laughter. So if you just place your hands over your heart, take a deep breath and go, and
That's
just doing,
that you
sorry, go
almost
ahead.
feel like laughing for real when you start.
Yes, yeah, yeah. And when you do it with a group, it gets contagious, so
Yes.
it even gets funnier. And so I have different activities that we can do, everything from like um, the penguin walk, or the um, chicken, or the monkey, different animal type walks, activities that as we're doing our laughter. But yeah, it's a great thing. And even as a family,
Yeah.
just intentional laughter raises the vibration. And your body doesn't know, the difference
It's not
between
real.
the real stuff and the
Yeah.
intentional stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The brain doesn't know the difference. That's what's fabulous.
that's right. Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's almost like going back to being a kid and just
exactly.
letting go,
Exactly.
giving
That's
yourself
right.
permission.
That's right. And one of the things that I say during the laughter is that kids or toddlers laugh about 400, or giggle, laugh about 400 times a day. And as we get adults, how many times?
Maybe
It's
some,
tough
yeah,
sometimes.
there may be days, I'm
Yeah,
sure, where I don't laugh at all.
exactly. Exactly. And the other thing, oh, I should have brought a prop. The other thing, I'll just use a pencil. Smiling is silent laughter. So even just bringing your, your mouth into the smiling mode, I mean, it just, that alone, and taking a deep breath with that alone feels good. So I'm going to show a technique real quick here, Muriel, and I'll try to explain it as best I can for the audio audience.
Yes.
Take a pencil. I usually like to use straws or toothpicks. You can use a blade of grass. Just place it in between your teeth, your top teeth and your bottom one. Don't let your lips touch, like this.
Yeah, I don't have a pen. I will have to try that later when I will have a
Yeah,
pen.
yeah.
Because
So
yeah.
if you just place it between your teeth, the front of your teeth, don't let your lips touch it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's even yoga for the face.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it's great fun. So that was something that I had taken that training after the coaching, and I like to use it within my coaching
Yes.
sometimes. So yeah,
Because we are so serious all the time and we have so many responsibilities that we forget to be a kid. We forget to nurture
yeah,
this part of ourselves.
yeah.
And
That's right.
soon enough,
That's right.
I know for myself, because on top of it all, I'm a Capricorn, so it's a sign that works, works, works.
Yes,
I,
yes.
I end up with knots in my muscles, all kinds of physical symptoms that are not pleasant because I don't mindfully release all the stress.
That's right. That's right. And even you can just take a deep breath in, raise your hands above your head, and as you're letting your hands down, just laugh like
Okay, I also have to
so
try that on another day because I have a back
that's a
problem today.
that's another very simple activity that one can do on their own.
And it's really, as again, simple but powerful. And just
Absolutely.
so, do you have workshops where you work on laughter alone, or do you incorporate
Yes.
that in your coaching?
Yes, I just moved back to where I'm living now, so I haven't had an opportunity to do it yet. But I used to hold weekly or bi-weekly laughter sessions.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
because I have the feeling that's something you need to go back again and again and again, just
yes,
to have
yeah.
fun.
It's funny though, Muriel, because some people are uncomfortable with
Yes.
intentional laughter. I've done a session at a conference, and I mean a big conference, but you can tell that a couple of people have just left the room, because they're just so uncomfortable, which
Yes.
is fine, which is
I,
fine.
it's true. I remember I gave a workshop one day where we were working on being sexy and feminine, and I had Boaz for the ladies to dance on the song, I Feel Pretty.
Oh,
I
yes.
remember one lady who was very professional and serious. She worked in the TV industry. She couldn't get up from her chair. She could
No,
not.
no.
And I told her, that's okay. You'll do it next time when you're ready. But
Absolutely.
she could
Absolutely.
not. She was too self-conscious. She was
Yeah.
too afraid of being ridiculous. And that's something that we learn. It's not our nature. We learned that over the years to
Yeah.
be like that.
Absolutely. And that's why um, I don't have much opportunity, but I like to delve into the inner child, like get to know who that child is. What were your dreams? What were the things you like to play with? What made you happy and want to skip, and maybe just try it a little bit. Remember who that person was.
Because that child is still in us. And if we don't
Absolutely.
nurture it, if we don't take care of it, if we don't love it, it will act out and it will
Yep.
hijack our life
Yep.
in
Yep. You're
so many
right.
areas.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Another
But you
thing,
see,
no, go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, we don't realize that though. We don't so, a little bit more and more, I hope that people will start to learn to want to relax, want to release, let go, and maybe be a kid again. Just giggle and
Yeah,
breathe. Giggle and breathe.
that, yes. But unfortunately, it usually happens when you're in pain and you have to change something, whether it is emotional pain or physical pain, or where
That's
something
right.
happens in your life, like a crisis,
Yep.
and
Yep.
you have to do something.
That's right.
It's
That's
very
right.
rare.
Yeah.
It's rare that we go through joy and then decide to change. But that's the way it is the most.
And unfortunately, relationships cause triggers. Sometimes people won't have triggers until they have children of their own. They
Yeah.
start remembering of what it was like when they were a child. So then you want, just change that up, change it to how you wish you would have been treated or talked to, or, and bring that to your child.
And it's a perfect transition to the question I had for you, because I wanted to go to the spiritual side of things. And
Mm-hmm.
uh, my belief, which is not everybody's belief, but is that we kind of choose the family where we're going to come in. And that we do that for a reason, because there are lessons we have to learn. But even if you believe something else, like that God is going to choose for you, there is a purpose. And when you have kids, you can realize that they are your spiritual teachers, because things will
That's right.
come up. You're going to be triggered. I know for myself, I recognize when my kids were younger, I saw my father in me reacting in ways that I didn't like him reacting that way when I
Mm-hmm.
was young. I didn't like that, but I caught myself and I was like, oh my God, that I'm parenting the same way that I've been raised. And there were ways that were too rigid. And it's not to blame anyone, because that was the generation where things were more rigid, and kids were supposed to be seen and not heard, stuff like that.
That's right.
I didn't go to the extent with my kids, but I saw myself being a little bit too rigid sometimes, and I didn't like it. But being aware that there is a spiritual work to be done in your relationship with your kids will change everything. So
Absolutely.
I know you resonate with that, because we had conversations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, what's your, what do you teach people on that? Do you work with that?
Well, I I haven't had a lot of opportunity to go down that road yet, because I find it's what I'm going to explain to you, because it's hard to wrap your head around, I think, sometimes. I mean, sometimes kids are planned, sometimes they aren't. Um, there's many different scenarios, but
Yes.
I truly feel that we women have a very special place on this earth, because we bring um, the spirit realm into the physical realm. So I've always said that this is my take, is that those babies come into the world pure and fresh and clean, and then we get a hold of them. And
It doesn't
so
sound good.
well, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
the triggers come up, different things like
Yeah.
that. So I want people to realize that those are pure spiritual beings, and they have come here for a reason,
Yeah.
either to teach us or for them to learn something, just like
Like
we
both.
have been.
Yeah.
And but unfortunately, um, things happen. Different people come into our lives, and there's a veil, and then we spend the rest of our life trying to get back to that, get back to our
Or true.
being, our
Yeah.
true self.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess my passion is, I'm a bit of a preventionist. I I like to I like to help people see that that little person that you have brought into the world is here for a reason. They have a gift. They have something to offer. So let's watch them, let's see them, let's let's see who they are meant to be and nurture that in them.
So you're the preventionist. I like that word. And so you come early in the picture, and I come later for the moms who may feel regrets, even sometimes guilt and shame because they didn't know
Yes.
what we know now, what they just learned,
Hmm.
and they wish they had known it when their kids were young, like myself, because I've
Hmm.
evolved through the years. But the message is never too late. It's never too late.
Absolutely.
Even if your kids are
Absolutely.
adults, you can change the relationship and you can still help them grow and evolve and being happier. And there is no point in feeling guilty. You knew what you knew. The
That's right.
beauty is
That's
that
right.
now people like you take parents very early in the journey and help them do a better job from the start. And that's ideal.
Yeah, like I said, it's become a real passion of mine, and the longer I'm at it, the more research I do, the stronger it gets. And I think there's really something to it. Like, if I may, I looked at Kate Middleton, who became a princess, and that was another aha moment for me. And I thought, okay, what did those parents do? How did she get to Buckingham Palace or to London? Well, she was born in London, but how
Yes.
did she get to the palace? And she's a beautiful young woman, a good parent. Um, and a little bit of research that I did do, I was also trying to figure out how I could interview her.
Oh, that would be a great one.
Wouldn't that
Yes.
be amazing? But the little bit of research that I did find was she always dreamed of being a princess. And I thought, aha, there you go. You never, never squash a child's dream.
That's
Not that they,
so important.
primed her for that or whatever, but you never tell a child, oh, that's stupid, that's dumb. You'll never do that.
I don't know if there are still people. Yeah, probably there are still people that do that today. Um, because in the older generations, like in my generation, they didn't say it's stupid, but they said, it has been done already, you know,
Oh,
or
yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that. Like there is no more
yeah.
room for what you want to do because it has.
Oh,
Luckily enough, I've been so stubborn that I don't listen to that.
yes, yeah. Well, that's good.
Yes, but you're right. Not crushing their dreams, whatever they may be.
That's right.
And that
That's right.
goes back to us being able to take care of our own stuff. Because
Mhm.
when parents do that, it's not with a bad intention, it's an intention of protection. They,
Yeah,
they, they fear for their kids, they fear for them to be disappointed or to fail. And that's their own stuff, that's their own baggage. Thus, the
yeah,
importance of clearing that baggage before,
absolutely.
if optimally before you have kids, but otherwise anytime.
Mm. Yeah. Or just learning to be mindful.
Yes,
Because, if you
before
realize,
uh-huh, before you speak.
yeah, yeah, but that's tough. It's one thing I learned in a course that I took, you have to believe in the process. Sometimes it's just the process.
Uh-huh. Yes, true. So
Yeah.
how long do you have maybe clients that changed because of the mindfulness and the meditation and the breathing?
Well, they're able to, it's it's a hard thing to instill, or it
Yeah.
takes a lot of mm, holding space for them,
Okay.
walking with them,
Okay.
encouraging, a lot of encouragement.
Yes.
But I think just being able to notice that they feel a little more relaxed, or they even sleep
Okay.
better, or just handle things that much better as
Yes.
they come up. Yeah.
Yes. And that's true. A little of small shifts will achieve a big
Hmm.
result at the end.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes.
The question that I love, that I ask everyone, is about self-love. And I would like your definition of self-love, because so many women don't even know what it means to them. So that way it helps define it for them, give them ideas.
Well, yeah, it's different for everyone for
Yes.
sure. Um, I I learned the importance of it very late in life. It wasn't something because as I've done my own healing and my own journey, I remember a lot of, oh, you can't do that. You don't know how to do that. That type of thing.
Mhm.
And just know that you're enough right now in this moment, and ask yourself, what is it that you need? What do I need right now in this moment? And just allow your inner wisdom to come through, and think back of that little child, or that think back. I like to encourage, what's the earliest memory? How old were you? What was your first memory? For me, I think I was about 3 or 4. I don't remember. I remember playing a particular thing. But think of that little person and just wrap them in your heart, and
Yeah.
know that that person is still inside of
Yeah.
you,
So true.
and just love it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So beautiful. So you answered my second question, because I was going to ask you, how do you implement self-love in your life? And just doing that,
Hmm.
going back to your younger self and just loving her.
Well, that was something I had to do because I didn't know how else to do it. I was doing some inner work, some inner child work, and I found, once I realized that, I went, oh,
And
there's,
it's powerful. I actually taught that to my children, because my daughter was bullied a lot when she was young. And I taught her to do that with people she didn't like, including a teacher that was mean to her. Going
uh-huh,
back to seeing the little girl in her, because if she's mean, that means something was hurt in the process, something was done to
absolutely.
her. So sometimes you're not able to really send love to the person as they are as an adult, because they cost you pain, or some kind of price you have to pay from interacting with them. But going back to when they were kids, I don't know many people who would not love on a kid when they are at
Hmm.
that age, when they are adorable. And
That's
believe it
right.
or not, the energy will impact the relationship even without talking with them, because we did that with my daughter for a specific teacher who was not nice to her at all. And we did that. And when she went back to having this teacher, she gave her a compliment.
Oh.
And I was like, you see, she felt it.
Hmm.
You don't have to
Hmm.
say anything. You have trouble with somebody, go back to seeing them as a kid if you're able to, and love
That's
them.
right.
And that
Yeah,
can be felt. That can be felt.
absolutely. Yeah, that is powerful. Yeah,
Um,
very good.
so if people want to be in contact with you again, all they have to do is to write here Deb's Tribe, and they will receive the link. And
Okay.
I know that on your page you share a lot of resources. Um,
Hmm.
do you Is there another way to get in contact with you? No, that's the best way, right? Because they can contact you through the Facebook group.
Well, they can do that, or they can email me as well. If you want to put that up, they can always email me.
Okay. So
Do you
what?
want me to give that to you
Yes,
now?
yes, and I'll add it to the description of the interview.
Okay. It's atLll.deb at sasktel.net.
Okay, and
LLL.deb.
I'll put
Yeah,
that in the description.
sure.
Um, if there was one last thing you wanted to let the audience go with, like a parting advice or tool or tip, what would it be?
Just remember to breathe. Breathe, and if you are having a moment where things are all awry, just stop, take note of 3 things around you, feel 3 things, and just get in the moment and breathe and just reset. Just start again. You always can start again.
Yes.
And don't be patient with yourself. If you're trying to make changes, one step at a time.
Yeah, that's very a supportive advice.
Good.
Thank you so much, Deb, for being here with us today. Thank you for the wisdom that you shared and the work that you're doing. I'm really
Thank
happy.
you for having me. It was great. Thanks, Muriel.
You're welcome. And for our audience, if you want to know next time we go live, all you have to do is to give us notify me here below, or in the description of this video, I put a link also where you can go and click on the button and follow the instruction. You'll have to respond to the message that you'll get with another notify, and then you'll be added to my messenger list of people that I ping before I go live. We'll be live next week with another episode. And if you're listening to that on iTunes, please go and rate us and put a comment if you want a review. I would really, really appreciate it, because this year I am working on bringing this podcast up in the ranking. So thank you very much, and go love on your inner child. You'll see the results will be magnificent. See you next time.
Wonderful.
Bye.
Bye-bye.